This video is about the Renaissance. Which is about people who made things that are now worth millions of dollars. The 7 important people are Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael, Giotto, Dürer, Bruegel, and Van Eyck. These people are known for their important paintings, as well as their other sculptures and inventions and stuff, starting with Leonardo da Vinci, born in 1452, who is also known as the Renaissance man, and made many important paintings, 2 of which are very well known today, being The Last Supper and Mona Lisa. The Last Supper was a painting of Jesus' Last Supper with his disciples before being betrayed by Judas Iscariot. This painting was created from 1485 to 1488, and was created for the refectory of the city's monastery of Santa Maria delle Grazie. This painting was also painted during the Italian War, and syphilis starts to get recorded. The Mona Lisa was painted a little later, in 1503, where the French-Spanish Wars ended with the victory of the Spanish in the Battle of Ruvo. There is much speculation to the Mona Lisa and who the woman in the painting is believed to be, as she appears in one of Da Vinci's early works as well. The Mona Lisa intrigue many people due to the half-smile she's giving. Another interesting painting of Da Vinci's is St. John the Baptist, where is depicted after having just been told a joke. On a more serious note, this painting was made somewhere between 1513 and 1516, and other events around then included a great fire in the Rialto of Venice, and a new release of a Greek translation of the New Testament. The next person is Michelangelo, who many painted in a fresco style. Some of his major works include David, and many other works in the Sistine Chapel. His sculpture of David was 17 feet tall, and was built between 1501 and 1504. Not very much historical context can be found around when the statue was created, but the Treaty of Lyon was signed a couple months before the statue was raised in Florence. The Sistine Chapel was another one of Michelangelo's most famous works, mostly because of how much detail is in each painting. Some of the most famous paintings include The Creation of Adam and The Last Judgment. The Creation of Adam was finished around 1512, while The Last Judgment was finished later, around 1536 to 1541. Both of these paintings are based off of biblical events, but can also be credited to the demon of Pope Julius II. Pope Julius II had demanded Michelangelo to go back to Rome in 1505 to build the Pope's tomb. Michelangelo eventually spent 40 years on the event, was constantly interrupted, and was never really finished to his satisfaction. Now we have Raphael, best known for his Madonnas, which were mostly painted in Florence, mostly between 1504 and 1507. Some of his most important works include The Marriage of the Virgin, School of Athens, and his Transfiguration. The Marriage of the Virgin, 1504, is a work by Raphael that seems to be mostly inspired by his teacher, Pietro Perugino's Marriage of the Virgin. These 2 paintings look really similar, but Raphael's can be seen as more refined in detail. The School of Athens was painted from 1509 to 1511, and was made to be in the stanze di Raffaello, also known as the Raphael Rooms, in the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican. This painting was painted so that they would be directed to Plato and Aristotle, even though the room is filled with with people. Something that could have also had influence on the painting was in 1509. Pope Julius II placed the nice under interdict and excommunication. The last painting is Transfiguration, which was painted around 1516 to 1520. This was mostly about when Jesus was portrayed as having been with Moses and Elijah, right and left. This was during the reign of Cardinal Medici, and in 1516, both the Treaty of Noyon and the Concordat of Bologna were signed. Next is Giotto di Bondone, also known as Giotto, who did much of his works in chapels. Two of his most famous works include Scrovegni Chapel and Bell Tower, and both works are much older than other previously mentioned works. The Scrovegni Chapel works were completed around 1305, while the Bell Tower was completed around 1334. The Scrovegni Chapel has 37 scenes split into 3 tiers, focused on salvation and other biblical themes. Around the time of creation, Pope Clement V gets crowned in lion, but besides that, not much else occurred around the time. The other work was the Bell Tower, also known as Giotto's Campanile, contains 7 bells within the tower. This large building took a significant amount of time, and Giotto had just started working on this when he was 67. An interesting event that was recorded around the time of creation is that sometime in 1334, the first case of the Black Death was recorded in Hubei, China. Erase Dürer, one of Europe's first landscape artists, whose works are generally categorized as Northern Renaissance. Some of his best works include Adam and Eve, Virgin with the Iris, the altar piece Assumption of the Virgin, and Adoration of the Trinity by all the saints. Dürer's Adam and Eve, 1507, painting does not have very much information on the background of it, nor does Virgin with the Iris, 1508, and his Assumption of the Virgin, 1509. His work of the Adoration of the Trinity also apparently does not have very much background to it, as it was created in 1511, so yeah, sorry.
Now we have a Bruegel, also spelled as Bruegel, whose full name is Peter the Elder Bruegel, if you want to look him up. Some of his famous works include The Tower of Babel, 1563, The Parable of the Blind, 1568, and Peasant. Each of these works include plenty of expression and feeling in both animate and inanimate figures. The Tower of Babel had 3 pieces to it. Rather it was painted 3 times. The first one was a miniature painting, which was lost in Rome, but the other 2 are known for its prefix, great and little. These 2 paintings are also important because the towers are depicted as living, in a sense, amongst the rest of the buildings. The architecture is also something to note, but I don't have the time for that. His other work, The Parable of the Blind, also known as Blind Leading the Blind and Blind, shows a bunch of blind people flying to walk. This painting was actually painted a year before Bruegel's death, and around that time Queen of Scots is known for apparently running away a all a lot but eventually gets arrested by Elizabeth I of England. Sorry there wasn't much again. His last paintings were all about peasants and stuff, so it's kinda boring and I'm going to skip it.
The Last Guys Van Eyck, and DLL just shot of his best works is Ghent Altar Piece, 1432, and Madonna at the Fountain, 1439. His Ghent Altar Piece has 12 panels, each containing a lot of different and important people from the Bible, and some others were important at the time, and lots of other things. So right back before this work was completed, Iowa RC gets roasted, Pope Eugene the Fourth succeeds Pope Martin the Fifth, and Henry the Sixth of England gets crowned King of France, and the last work, Madonna at the Fountain, is his last signed and dated painting, showing the Fountain of Life. W. also showing Christ as a killed, and a strange blue robe. Which represents Italia, and a strange Italian influence. Around this time, was the miracle of the Mus in Russia. Which is a completely different story, but no thing else really comes in contact with this painting. Finally, M. Done. Bye.